and they won't.
Yes, let's go, let's go, let's go. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in this room. This is your girl, Shamika Willis, also known as Lady Queen. I am, but you can call me Lady Queen. I want to thank y'all once again for joining me. I have a special guest. This is my BFF, right? We go back like four inflated tires on a Cadillac because we're going somewhere. We don't go with flats. We are going somewhere, and we came to talk to y'all. Lady T, introduce yourself, honey.
So I am here in Denver, Colorado. I am a mother of five, just like Lady Queen there. Have a husband, have a lot of responsibilities, don't have a lot of time, and was definitely sick and tired of being broke. People of God aren't supposed to be broke. Jesus had a treasurer and an accountant that was one of his disciples and in his crew. And he wants me to prosper and be in good health, even as my soul prospers. And so I wanted to see this prosperity in the land of the living. And I'm not waiting to die and get to heaven to see mine.
Amen. That's the truth. That's actually what this live is about. Listen, this is what I need you to do. I need your help. Tap to clap, right? Tap to clap. So you tap that heart button, tap it. And that means you clapped, right? So tap to clap, tap that heart button. Let us know that you're there. And then also don't forget to comment. We love to hear from you. But what we need you to do is share to every pastor, every church book page, every church group, get this out to them, because this is something that they do not want to miss out. If you love your pastor, if you love the church that you go to, it's very, very important, especially in this time. If you want to make sure that this pandemic does not take them out, because understand, with the way things are going, it has been predicted that 66% of churches, the doors will close. We want to reach especially those small churches. We want to help get the church through this, right? And because if our church is doing the work, your church is doing the work, we're reaching a multitude. We're reaching more and more people. So tag your pastors in here, tag your first ladies, tag the elders, tag anyone that is a part of the fivefold ministry, because they definitely need to bring this to their church. If you are a part of that fivefold ministry, definitely post it to your page, because we need to talk about this. A lot of times in the church, we talk about sins and we talk about salvation, but yet we leave the other part out. God wants me to be holistic, meaning not only prosper, but just as my soul prospers, right? So that's even on this earth. And we have to understand, even with the church, we have to make sure that we're moving, and especially with businesses and the organizations that are getting into this, we have to make sure that the church thinks like that on that part financially. So tag them in here so we can get started. Thank you everyone for that's coming in. We do appreciate it. We are talking about Bitcoin and 501c3, our nonprofit organizations, and our churches. So get them in the room. Churches, come on in the room. My background, I grew up in the church. So I've been 30 plus years in the church. My father is a bishop. My mother's a pastor. So I grew up in the church. As long with Tiny T, we've been knowing each other for like the later part of 20 plus years. Yeah. So this is definitely our heart's passion, because we want to make sure that the kingdom of God continue to prosper in our areas, as many churches as we can reach out to. So I'm gonna tell you about my story. I actually got involved because of my sister, my bestie over on this side right here. We actually were both on a live together. And she had heard about it before. I had never heard about it. And I'm like, man, what is this they talking about? And I'm like, you sure? But God has a divine purpose and a plan, a perfect timing and a plan. And then so when she joined, I actually joined. And when I tell you the wealth and just the community that I'm in has not only helped me mentally, but also has helped me even financially, as the financial aspect of looking future down the road of having that generational wealth that the Word of God talks about. So I was able to join, and we've actually been learning a lot about cryptocurrencies, which ones to get into, which ones will be more likely to take off. And so I'm so grateful for that, because now I can bring that knowledge back to the church to help the church. We were on a Zoom call recently, and one of the queens that were teaching us at the time, she said 66% of churches are predicted to close their doors because of the pandemic, because of the economic fall. And so I'm like, man, that is a great responsibility, but I want to be a part of that number that says, okay, church, this is what we need to do. We need to take action. So we started learning about what to invest in. And so me and Tina actually started talking, and we're like, man, like if we can seriously help the church out, if we can seriously help the church begin to prosper financially before all these corporations, we can actually help save some churches. Right, T? Right? Even tell, I guess, of your journey of why you decided to join, and and that you did come in.
So I'm going to be honest. When I first signed up, it was not about kingdom work. I was definitely thinking about my pocket. I was definitely thinking about being tired of being broke. But very quickly, very, very quickly after I had signed up and saw the mass opportunity, God began to deal with me. God began to talk to me, and God began to let me know this is not about you. Just like everything else, this is not about you. And so as things begin to progress, and as information began to be released, because here's the one thing that I honestly, at the age that I have reached, I honestly never thought it would happen, but that I would be in the front of something before a Fortune 500 company, that I would be in front of something and in the front of something before Tesla and before MasterCard and before Ivy League colleges or Apple. And so there was the thing is, though, there was so much information out there, and without this education, I would have been like, I don't even I don't know where to go. I don't know who to trust. I don't know which site I can go to and trust. I don't know who's gonna scam me and who's not gonna scam me. That's the situation I would have been in, because when I heard about Bitcoin before, I made an investment and it was on the wrong site in the wrong company. And you take that lesson and you keep on moving. As we say, when I was living in Louisiana, you take your lumps, you take your licks, and you keep on going. But God began to deal with me about the potential. And when I tell you guys the urgency and the fire in my belly for what this could do for churches and ministers, so not just people, not just families, but churches. And there is a transfer of not only wealth, there is also a transfer of knowledge and information, because we now have access to information that has been denied us for decades. And so not only is it that we now have access to wealth that has been denied us, but also to the information. And that's the thing that has held us down, because this is something other people have known about. Other people have been involved in, and other people have tried to keep from us. And even in the process, when this transfer started, I wasn't aware of it. They were even trying to keep that information from us back when this first started. But God has a plan, and God has a will, and God has a purpose. And so he allowed people like me and people like Lady Queen, and there are other pastors and there are other churches that are getting in. And I was like, oh, that's great. But these are large churches. I don't go to a large church. I'm thinking about the churches that are barely getting by. And I began to think about the churches whose members lost their jobs, so they can't pay their tithes and offerings. And yes, God provides, but guess what? God didn't rain coins from heaven. He put it in the mouths of fish. So the fishermen had to go out and do something to get the coins to bring in the increase. And so don't turn your back on your fish right now, because your coins is in the mouth of the fish. It may not be a check. It might be the fish. Get in the boat, cast your net. Get your fish so you can get your coins.
Come on, look. You know what? You starting to talk them scriptures like I like them. Look, let me tell you, because a lot of times people are like, how could a fish have exactly what I need when I'm the fish? And that's how they look at it. And and we just talking real. we have both talked to our churches about already, and this is something that our churches are both, going forward with. But just the fact that realizing that, what, God, even if my child tells me something and I'm like, what, is that God trying to tell me? Because God can use anyone, right? And so look, we want you to look up this information, even if you end up telling your pastor about this information, because these were websites and everything that we were told to even go look up, and we want to give you the information, not to just necessarily say, oh, okay, because they said it. If you look at usdebtclock.org, you can see how many trillions of dollars that the U.S. is in debt. The U.S. is in debt. And then it says, like, basically, if you go and look at this, it says that basically for our lifespan, we owe the government $200,000+.
And I want everybody else, where did I borrow that money? I didn't borrow. The government didn't give me no $222,000. So I would like to know where I got that money from that I owe it back.
Yeah, I was like, man, what did I do with that money? Like, if I borrowed it, where's that? Because I sure checked my bank account and I'm missing a few zeros. So
I'm missing all the zeros.
So I'm like, man, where? And then the crazy part is, if you go to usdebtclock.org, you can go into the future, like 5 years, and it says then you owe $300,000+ to the government. So I was like, man,
but let's not forget, not only do they predict that your debt gonna go up, but your income will go up by a whole $2,000 a year.
Yeah, but it went up 100,000 of how much I owe them. But yet, that's crazy. The numbers don't add up. So for now, what me and Tana were talking about is the fact that we actually have found something, and God has even been able to put us in a space where not only can you take part of your income as a person, as an individual, not just talking about churches, but you can invest and reap a harvest from that. When I tell you, not only have I tripled my portfolio, my mother has doubled her portfolio. Even my son has made money, from putting in money into Bitcoin. But when I was looking up, because I was looking at microstrategy.com, and where Michael Saylor, he took, listen to this, before I talk about Michael Saylor, I read an article where Tesla from investing in 1 month, made what they have made in selling cars in 14 years, just by investing in Bitcoin. They made more in 1 month than they made in selling cars over a 14-year span. Now, that should tell you something. We have to start looking at these big organizations like Tesla, like MasterCard, MicroStrategy, even it says Apple is starting to even look into these things. Understand, look at these big companies, look what they're doing. And then we need to also, they're financially prospering off of this. Understand, it's just not laid up for them. Like, it's time that the church step into the place where they say, you know what? I need to open my eyes and see something and look at that fish and say, okay, fish, do you have something for me? Because there's an abundance. There's an abundance there. And it is time definitely for the church to step up and not look at, okay, well, I can be, spiritually whole, and I can be spiritually successful and emotionally successful. But yet we leave out the financial, when the Bible tells us he wishes for us to prosper just as our soul prospers. And then not only that, if my earthly father owns so much and has so much riches, I would benefit from that too, being his child. It's the same thing with God. He owns a cattle on 1,000 hills, meaning he owns everything. He created everything in the world. So why is it okay for even church people to live from paycheck to paycheck? Why is it okay for the church to even be in a position where they're worried about if they're going to be able to pay their lights? Because the fact is, because of the pandemic, people have lost their jobs. They're unable to pay tithes for whatever reason. And now they don't have money coming in the way that they used to take care of the storehouse. Why would we be in that position, be in the kingdom of God? So we have to seriously open up our eyes to things that we've never seen before. Even when I looked up the word stiff neck, understand the reason why, not only because of disobedience, but it said that they were stiff neck people. Whenever they were talking about Moses and the people of Israel not entering into the into the promised land. but the Joshua generation did. And I want you to understand this. When it said stiff neck, it's just unwilling to learn something new, unwilling, like you're just stuck in whatever it is. Oh, this is what it is, and there's no other way around it. We have to seriously open up our eyes to what's going on. We can't be blind anymore. We can't sit back and understand this. One of the first messages I preached on March 1st, 2020, on the first message I preached was about these 4 lepers. And at the time, understand there's 3 things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the lepers, which we knew in the Bible, leprosy was considered very unclean. You didn't mess with people with leprosy. They were dirty. You didn't deal with them, right? Because the fact that they had leprosy. Now understand the word city. We're going to talk about the city. This is going to be the representation of the church. Well, then there were the Amorites, which at the time were in a camp. Now they had robbed the city of the abundance, and they basically had all of the wealth. So the lepers were sitting here. Now this is a Bible story. You can look it up. The lepers were sitting down and said, listen, we can either sit here in our mess and die. We can go back to the city, but they're also in lack, so we'll still die. Or we can try and go to the Amorites and try to talk with them, and maybe we can get exactly what we need. Well, it just so happens when the lepers decide to get up from where they are and go into the enemy's camp, that God allowed the Amorites to hear a great army, and they took off running. They took off. So when the lepers get into the camp, guess what? The camp is empty, but guess what's in the camp? The abundance. There's gold, there's jewelry, there's food, all they need. So they start putting things in their pockets, and they're like, you know what? Like, wow, God has provided, and they're excited. And then one of them says, it would be a shame for us to keep this all to ourselves. Let us go back to the city and tell the city about it, and hopefully they'll also reap from this abundance too. So they go back to the city. But at one point, one of the people that were in there was saying, why would you listen to them? They're lepers. And that's what's going to keep the church in lack, to be honest. That's what's good right there. That's what's going to keep the church in lack. Because of the fact is, you look at the scars of people's leprosy, or you look at people and say, you know what, you don't know more than me, because look, you're in a worse position than me. And then you don't hear what God is saying. It is like when I tell you, I almost like, and I know, it ain't necessarily a good thing for me to do. I almost want to like beg people, like, let me help you. Like, I almost want to beg the church, let me help you. Because of the fact is, I've seen the abundance grow. I've seen people invest and reap multiple benefits from it. Multiple. I want you to understand, the Bible tells us to lay up generational wealth, but yet we're struggling just for the generation we're in. That shouldn't be. As a people of God, that shouldn't be. And so it hurts me. It hurts me that, that it is like this. But guess what? God has sent that ram in the bush, and all you have to do is accept it. T, do you have something to say, honey?
Man, you want me to follow that?
Well,
all I would say is this. For smaller churches, and our church is not only smaller, but our church is a little older. And someone had brought out a very good point about when churches used to only accept cash, and then it was time to accept credit cards, and churches were like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if I could trust that. I don't know if it's going to be safe, and all of that kind of stuff. And then, the same thing happened back in the day when people wanted to trade money instead of trading buggies and horses and goats and salt. You gotta be able to be flexible enough to move, because here's the thing. God is a progressive God. He's constantly on the move. If you're in the same place that you've always been in, something is wrong. And not only is God progressive, but the world is progressive. So the world is moving to something new. Are you going to be in the front of the movement for the first time in your life, or are you going to continue being in the back of the movement and saying, wow, you can be educated and in the front of the movement? How many times have things happened, great things happened, amazing things happened, like when Facebook came out and people put their money in that, or when Bitcoin first came out, or when Apple came out, or people who bought Coca-Cola back in the day when the stock was $1. And if only, my husband says, man, if my grandparents would have got some stock, guess what? They didn't. Move on. Now it's your turn. What are you going to do? You're being presented with an opportunity, not only an opportunity to gain the wealth, but also to gain the knowledge. What are you going to do? Are your grandkids going to be saying, man, I wish my parents would have? Is the church coming behind you going to say, I wish pastor would have? Oh, I'm looking at what all these other churches did. I wish our church would have done it. Are you going to continue to be in the back of the movement, or are you going to take your rightful place as the head and not the tail, above only and not beneath, and the lender and not the borrower? Because the choice is completely up to you. But right now, I have been at the back, not even at the back of in the movement, just at the back of seeing the movement. The movement completely passed me by. And then I found out about it, and everybody else prospered from it. And then after I found out about it, I still wasn't in a position. But now, oh, the tides have turned. And guess what? I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not about to be, oh, I wish I would have. I'm not going with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I'm going to be like, oh, I was one of the ones. I'm going to be like those people who say, oh, I got in on Facebook when it was $100. Guess what? They may not have gotten it at $1, but when they got it at $100, they still made lots of income. This is not just about finances. This is about putting action to your faith. How many have been praying for income, for the windows of heaven to be open and pouring out a blessing? You cannot dictate how that pour looks. You cannot dictate how God's going to give you that blessing. And so you have two choices right now. We've been praying these prayers, open up the window of heaven and pour us out a blessing that there's not room enough to receive it. Well, guess what? The pour has started. Are you going to get your container, or are you going to keep praying the same prayer, waiting to see it come out as water? What if it's not water? What if it's lemonade? What if it's rain? What if it's soda? You're going to miss out because it's not water. That's what you're looking for, because it doesn't look like how you think it's going to look. Let me just tell you something. God don't do things the way you think they should be done. That's why he's God. God's not going to make it look the way you think it should look. That's why he's God. His plan and his purpose, the things he ordained at the beginning of the world, he didn't do it with your approval in mind. So you got two choices. You can obey, get in line, and reap the rewards, or you can be one of the ones sitting on the sideline singing your regrets. I have no intention of sitting on the sideline anymore. Before, I didn't have a choice. Now I do. Before, we didn't have the information. Now we do. So my question to you, what are you going to do now?
Definitely. And look, when I tell you now, hear this, and I need you to understand, it is definitely because we want you to prosper, because we want the church to excel, exceed, whenever the things begin to happen and doors begin to shut because churches cannot afford to stay open. We definitely want to be that lifeline that God uses to help you get to that next level, to help you. Now, after telling you even this, understand you invest. And when I tell you, okay, listen, and this is just one of the things. Understand, it doesn't matter if you didn't get in when it was $2. I wish I had got in when it was $2, but it doesn't matter. But here, Bitcoin right now, one coin is at what, $48,000, $49,000 for one coin. Now, see, it's still not too late. There's things called Satoshis, meaning pieces of Bitcoin that you can purchase and still benefit, because it is predicted with Forbes magazine. If you go look it up, it is predicted that a Bitcoin will hit about 100,000 by the end of the year. And then now remember, it's at 49,000 right now, 48, 49,000 somewhere. At the end of the year, it will be 100,000. Within years to come, it will be worth between 400,000 somewhere, 600,000. They've been talking about, understand where you could be at. Think about it. When it hits the 400,000 and you would have got in at 49,000. I want you to think about that, how much profit you would have made, not only for the churches. And listen, when I tell you I've been studying this, not only because of nonprofit organizations, 501c3s, churches, a church can still invest a portion of the church's account as long as it does not benefit just one person. A church can still invest a portion of their account. It still be tax exempt. And think about the places now you can reach out to, or the people you can reach out to now in order to help the world. I say, whenever things start to crash and the economy starts to go down, think about it. If people come to the church, how it was meant to be, where they say, I need help with groceries, and you're able to provide those groceries for that mother and those children. Think about that. Or you know what? You've been having a member there. You would give your shirt off your back for that member. They've been there 15 plus years, always supporting. And they say, I lost my job because of everything that's going on. I can't get my life back on. And the church is able to step in the way that they should. Think about it. It's putting the church in a position where now financially they can, not even depend on the government and nobody to bail them out. But the fact is, because they were wise with what they had, because they were wise, as the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 11 talks about investing. Look, we talk about scriptures all the time. If you look in the Word of God, it talks about multiple times about investing not only in foreign trade, because understand at the time that's what they did off of the boats, and money changes every 100 years. I think we're on the 107th or 108th year for cash. Now it's changing to digital money. Think about it. Everything's going to digital. So now it's digital money. You have the opportunity to get in before all these other banks. I believe Bank of America has already bought Bitcoin. Chase or JP Morgan has already bought Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken.
So they have. So let me just explain. They haven't bought it yet, because unlike 501c3s and individuals, they have submitted their paperwork to ask permission to buy it.
Yep.
So let me explain to you what happens when all of these other people come in. Before Tesla got in, Bitcoin was at like 37. We were watching it fluctuate between 37 and 40. Bitcoin is now busting past that. So the more people get in, the people who got in before the people that get in reap a harvest. It's just that simple. And we're not saying you have to make a decision. You better do this right now. But all we're saying is get the information. Make an informed decision. Don't make a decision out of fear. Get the information and make an informed decision. That's all we're saying. Reach out to us to get the information.
Definitely. And that's what it's about, just helping. So if if you are a member and has a pastor that you have a pastor that you believe should hear this. I'm sorry for those we can't see who Facebook user is. There must be one of our streams that we're going through is a private group or page, so it won't allow us to see exactly who it is. But thank you so much for those that are joining. Thank you, Facebook user, for even commenting. That's the big bro right there. I'm telling you, we want to seriously step in and get this money. As a matter of fact, one of my brothers, I won't tell y'all which one because I don't need y'all inboxing and maxing for a couple of dollars. But I'm serious. One of my brothers, was able to take and understand what I'm saying now doesn't. How do they say that, T? Doesn't
past profits do not. So basically what somebody else did, we ain't guaranteeing you're going to do it.
Exactly. But you know what, with that also being said, I'm like, this is an amazing opportunity to prosper because of the fact is it is going up, point blank. It is going up. So if you get in where you get in soon, it is going up, point blank. But like one of my siblings were able to put in $500 and came out with $2,400 already, and so like, this is serious talk. You're able to take something and multiply it and put it back into the church to where you can now not only survive as a church, but begin to help the neighborhood you're in. You're able to help the neighborhood you're in.
So let me say one other thing. Churches, some churches have savings accounts, and you feel comfortable putting your money in the bank in a savings account. You feel like that's a trustworthy place to put it. And the bank says, thank you for letting me hold your money. I'm going to give you 0.2% interest at the end of the year, 0.2%. Now, the bank took that money that you put in your savings. They took your money that you put in your savings account. They took that money, put it into the foreign exchange market, made 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 times your money, put your money back in your account, and gave you what? Absolutely nothing. And then at the year, they gave you 0.2%. They
Yep.
made 20%. They made 100% on your money. And you ever wonder why between certain hours, like 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you try and go log onto your bank website and you can't get any information on your account? You know why? Because banks have a algorithm that is plugged into their computers where they push all the money into an account. That money then goes into the foreign exchange market and is traded to make profits, which is why they give you that 0.2% so that you can keep your money there. But why not put your money in a type of savings account? Because just like with a savings account, you put your money in Bitcoin. Whenever you need something, you can take some out. Difference is it is appreciating and you get all of the profit. You get all of the increase.
Yeah, it's just like it's taking the power back from the bank. You're basically using your own money to make money instead of the bank using your money to make money. And it's basically just taking the power back. And it is very much 100% legal because your girl can't go to jail. Your girl don't like orange suits. Your girl can't do this. So it's 100%.
Look, I ain't trying to be funny, but they don't let you keep weaving to jail. I can't go to jail.
Yeah.
I moved to Colorado and it's dry here. My hair has suffered some things. I can't go to jail.
Yeah. So look, if you know a pastor, if you know, even a leader in your church that definitely needs to hear this, or if you just want to get involved, because understand you as a person can also, like I've told you, we've doubled and tripled our portfolios, and you are able to too. Like all you have to do is reach out. A lot of times that's the first step. You make the first step and then you can actually see a huge abundance from it. You just have to make a first step. So if you want to know about it, you definitely can reach out to me or Tina. Both of us are on Facebook. I will tag her in this post so we can make sure that that you see her in case you want to reach out to her. For those that know her, that way I put her name at the bottom of the post so that you can tap on her name, inbox her. You can inbox me. Also, my email address is Shameka, SHAMEKA, Will, WILL, motivate, MOTIVATE, motivate @gmail.com. Tina, what is your email address, honey?
My email address is very simply my name, TYNAJACKSON 007, like the 007 spy, @gmail.com. Again, that's TYNAJACKSON 007
There you go. So if you need to reach out to us, definitely do that. We are definitely trying to set up some things to where we can not only be able to do virtual presentations for churches to be able to show you not only usdebtclock.org, but also off of MicroStrategy, you can see where he has added different companies that if they do not if they do not invest in Bitcoin, where their company will be in the next couple of years. And all of them except for one, and that's because Tesla's already bought Bitcoin. All of them except for one are in like negative 20 to negative 67% somewhere. So I think one of them is even negative 91% chance of failing. So we'll be able to show you all of this information because you can prevent that. All you have to do is take that one step. You can prevent that from happening to your church, to your especially our smaller churches. Oh, I forgot that was me. But yeah.
And I just want to say, I want to reiterate, because yes, we have a heart for churches and we have a heart for the people of God, but we also have a heart for individuals. And so we are not just talking about churches. And I know we stress that a whole lot, but if you're just an individual who says, hey, it sounds kind of nice because guess what? She has 5 kids. I have 5 kids. I don't have a lot of time. And it doesn't take a lot of time. Good thing, because once again, I don't have a lot of time. So if you're a person, you don't have to have a hard luck story. You just have to want to get what God has for you. You just have to want to grab a hold to the reins. That's it. You don't have to, you could be Baptist, Protestant, you be whatever you want to be. Don't really care. I just have a heart to help people. And I'm excited about the fact that for once in my lifetime, I don't know if this ever happened before, that in Black Wall Street, but for once in my lifetime, I don't have to get permission from anybody to do better and to come up, and I don't have to wait on anybody to open an opportunity to me, and I don't have to watch everybody else get more and get increase, and I sit there in lack.
Look, what's
as many people want to go with us, we ready. And you know what we say? Let's go.
I know that's right. Now, today is February 14th. Right now, it is 6:55 p.m. Look, we are marking it down right now. Because, look, when I tell you, I say, you know what? I believe that the new Black Wall Street can be built. I believe it can happen again. And, you know, call me crazy, call me what you want to, but I'm going to be a part of that. I will have my business. I will be able to buy that land and set it up. Like, I'm so serious. Like I'm about it. I'm about stepping out on faith and not only just wholeheartedly believing in God, but trusting the God in me, you know, and believing that God is leading me through all of this on how to do this, on what to do and what to be a part of. But yep, if you need us, you can definitely reach out to us. We love you guys, whether you be a nonprofit organization, a church, 501c3, or even just an individual that says, you know what, I can't miss out on this. Reach out to us. We will definitely reach back out to you because we want you to prosper just like we're prospering. We want you to be successful as we're being successful. And you have an opportunity. The opportunity has been brought to you. So I love you guys, and we will talk to you again soon.